Alright, volume of prisms and cylinders. This one is pretty easy, so I think you're gonna like it. When you're talking about a prism, all you have to do is find the area of the base and multiply it by the height of the prism. So we have two types here. We have a triangular prism and a rectangular prism. For the rectangular, it could not be any easier. The box, you just do length times width times height. And for the triangular prism, it's a little more tricky though, because you find the area of the triangle, and you have to remember that the triangular base has a height as well that you have to take into account. It's not the same thing as the height of the prism, but you find the area of that base and then you multiply it by the height. Let's try a sample problem. I did this one just so you could see with the triangular how it could be a little tricky, just to make sure there are no issues with that too. So the volume is equal to the area of the base times the height of the prism. Well, the height of the prism is this, because it is the distance between the two parallel. You got to remember, when you're talking about a prism, they're two polygons that are in parallel planes, and the rest of it's rectangles. So around the outside is all rectangles. So the height we know is 22. The area of the base, well, we have area of a triangle is 1/2 of base times height. Here, the base is 18 times the height of the triangle, which makes that face, which is 16, times the height now of the actual prism, which is 22. This is where you got to be careful, because for this first portion here, for this, what we're dealing with is this and this, because we're trying to find the area of this shape. And that's a triangle. Remember, the area is 1/2 of base times height. So it's not this height. That's the height of the prism. That comes in here. Okay, then you just plug and chug. Put all those numbers in your calculator and you get 3,168. Now the units, remember the 18 is centimeters, 16 is centimeters, and 22 is centimeters. When you have centimeters times centimeters times centimeters, you have 3 of them, or centimeters cubed. The units are always cubed. For a cylinder, this is really easy as well, because it's just the area of the base times the height. The base is a circle, so you find the area of that base, pi r squared, and then you multiply it by the height of the cylinder. Shall we try one? I think so. All right, for this one, what you want to do is you want to take, again, it's going to equal to the area of the base times the height, just like the other ones, which is pi r squared times height of the cylinder. So this is going to be equal to pi times 1/2 of 17 for r, which is 8.5, squared times the height, which is 6. Pi times 8.5 squared times 6 in your calculator. I'm using 3.14. Gives me 1,361.19 and yards cubed. You could also put in there, which is 1,361, and I'm okay with that. All right, these two samples, I want you to try these, okay? I wanted to make it a little more interesting. That's why I grabbed these two. I think they'll make things a little more interesting. So pause the video, try and find the volume of those two, and then you can play it and see how I did it. Okay, for the first one, we have a box on the bottom and 1/2 of a can on the top. So for the box on the bottom, it's just 9 times 10 times 7. That's easy enough. For the circle, since we only have 1/2 of the can on the top, I'm going to do 1/2 of the pi times the radius, 4.5 squared, times the height of that cylinder. Keep calling it can and everything else, but you get it. Because again, I only want 1/2 of it. So 9 times 10 times 7 is 630. Plus 1/2 of pi times 4.5 squared times 10 is 317.925. Add those together, 947.925. To the nearest whole number is 948, and it's going to be feet cubed. That's an 8. The next one is very similar. We have a base that looks like a pizza box. We have 11 by 9 by 2. That'll give me the volume of the bottom part plus the volume of the cylinder that's sitting on top. Maybe that's a can of Coke, a really big one. Maybe it's a Monster Energy drink with a pizza. So we have pi times the radius, which is 2, squared, times the height of that cylinder, which is 7. This part here turns out to be 198. The next part, 87.92. Add those together, you get 285.92. To the nearest whole number would be 286 inches cubed. That is all. Bye-bye.